Hello and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Fara Sax. Thank you so much for stopping in for this wonderful next segment. Food insecurity continues to impact more than 1.2 million people in South Florida, leaving many families unsure of where their next meal may come from. Joining me today to discuss how Feeding South Florida is tackling this crisis is its president and CEO, Paco Velez. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Farah, thank you for having us.
It's a crisis I didn't even know about until really thinking about it in terms of that really is happening in our community. It's so prevalent, and that number is staggering to me, 1.2 million people. Give us an oversight of an overview of how Feeding South Florida and its critical role it plays out in in our community, because you serve 4 different places in our community, all throughout the South Florida community.
Correct. We serve Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade, Monroe counties. First and foremost, we are a food bank at our core. Food bank means we rescue food from those who have it and help get it onto the table of those who need it. We're part of the Feeding America Network. However, we're independent. We have our own board of directors, make our own decisions, and make sure that we're serving our community. We work with a different array of donors. We have our agricultural team. They go out and secure food from farmers, from producers, whether it's dairy producers, beef producers, egg producers. We also work with package and clearinghouses. They bring in a lot of the produce. They have it ready for brokerage. However, we get a lot of those donations. We work with distribution centers. Folks are aware of the Walmart Distribution Center, the Publix Distribution Center, Amazon, these big warehouses that are across our 4-county area. We get a lot of donations from them. And we also work with a lot of the retail stores. I say a lot, really all of the retail stores. You pick any retail store from Aldi to Publix, to Walmart, to Sam's Club, to BJ's, to Costco, all of these stores. We pick up over 600 different retail stores every single day with the help of our partner agencies across the community. It's actually the largest retail pickup program in the country across the 200 food banks in the Feeding America Network.
And it seems like you have, what I was reading, 350 community partners.
We have about 350, a little less than 300 when it comes to our partner agencies that serve families every week on an ongoing basis. And then we have some community partners that we work with on an extreme basis when we're doing mass distributions, which we really don't like to do. We want to make sure families have access to food when they need it and are able to choose what they want to take home with them for many reasons. First and foremost, we are a melting pot here in South Florida, so we want people to have a choice, a cultural preference, right? I prefer pinto beans coming from Texas and a Mexican background, where people here probably prefer black beans. We also have religious restrictions. Some people can have certain items, and some people can have don't like certain items. I know long green items like zucchini and cucumber are a little weird for some cultures, and eggplant is really not very well known for others. And then we also have the medical restrictions, which is a big one. We don't want to give someone peanut butter if they're allergic to peanut butter. So these are the things that we take into consideration when we work with our partner agencies and where we want to make sure families have access to food, healthy food that they're actually going to eat, and it's going to make them better, not exacerbate any kind of situation.
So Feeding South Florida supports 25% of the population that deals with food insecurity.
Correct. So we serve, actually, that's 25% of the entire state's food insecure population resides here in these 4 counties, which is a massive number. It actually may be a little higher. We just commissioned a meal deficit metric with the state of Florida and found that about 31% of food insecurity is here in South Florida, which is a pretty significant number. As the wage disparities grow here, we have those who have and those who have not, and that gap continues to widen. And many families continue to find themselves coming to us and struggling to put food on the table. And that's where we come in. But we can't do it alone. We work with a lot of donors, a lot of financial donors. We work with corporations who are very supportive, foundations, and individuals. We work with religious organizations. Everyone who has, who's willing to be part of the solution and want to get involved with our community and make it a better place. Everybody's welcome at the table. And a lot of individuals really want to get involved.
And for people that want to get involved, it's feedingsouthflorida.org or by calling 954-518-1818. I just want to give you that plug, and we'll continue on. Hunger remains to be like a really big challenge here. What does food insecurity currently look like in this population in South Florida?
So we have a few different populations.
You breathe very, very deep because you've been with the organization for many years now.
I've been with Feeding South Florida for 13 years. I was at the San Antonio Food Bank in Texas for 12 years, and seeing families struggle is it's pretty difficult, especially when you see some of the seniors, and there are a lot of seniors here in South Florida, and there are a lot of children, and children are really the innocent folks in all of this. You know, their birth lottery, DNA lottery, where they grow up, where they live is unfortunately a factor. And so the majority of folks we serve are working adults. And working adults who are struggling to make ends meet. And no matter what you're doing, food is the first thing that's going to go for a lot of families. They want to make sure they keep a roof over their heads. They want to make sure they keep the fuel in their car so they can get to work and back. And if they're on medication, they want to make sure they're taking their medication. Ironically, food is the one thing that you cannot live without. Right? You can live without a roof over your head. You can live without fuel in your car, I think. But food on the table, food in your belly is really what everybody needs to survive. We also have a lot of seniors who are on a fixed income. And that fixed income, whether you're looking at disability or Social Security, goes up very, very little, like a percentage point or less than a percentage point every year, where inflation has been going up much higher, 4 or 5 times that amount. And then our children, our after-school meals, summer meals, where they really don't get any kind of meals from school during the summer months. And then our school pantry program, which has been hugely successful and popular with the school districts across Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade, especially here in Miami-Dade, where the school district has wanted to install these school pantries across many of their schools. And the students are excited about it. The teachers are excited about it because it provides access to food for the families. A research project that we did with Aetna showed that behavior improved with the children, attendance improved with the children, and the grades improved. But one thing that we didn't realize was going to happen was the parents got more involved in the child's education because they were going into school a lot more to access the pantry.
So those that are able to access the pantry, I understand that for school-age kids and their families, how do you get the distribution to the rest of the community that do not have children or seniors? Is this a pickup project? Is this a home delivery? Can you talk about that a little bit?
We have a hybrid. So we work with almost 300 different nonprofit organizations across the 4-county area. So we deliver everything to our partner agencies. We want to make sure that their focus is serving their neighbors, their community. So we deliver everything to them. They order what they need for their community based on culture, based on whatever they're looking for, and we get it to them. We also, when folks call us and say that they have seniors, or that they are a senior, or their parents are a senior, and they're calling from New Jersey or Connecticut or somewhere else, they say, my mom or my dad, they're home alone and they need food. Can you help? So the first thing we do is we call up the senior and we ask them, are you able to go anywhere? If they say no, then we ask them, do you need prepared meals or do you need, or can you cook at home? If they can cook, then we as an organization, Feeding South Florida, has refrigerated vans and not just the big trucks. And we deliver to the homes of those seniors. We either deliver grocery boxes along with fresh produce, or we deliver a supply of prepared meals that they can heat up and eat at home.
What are some of the misconceptions about hunger that we can address today?
There are a lot of misconceptions about hunger.
When you think of when you think of it, when I think of it, if you're going to do like a misconception, they're living in a car, they're homeless families. Tell me what else would probably be. They don't look like they're starving.
The look and what folks drive. So we had a lady an older adult who was at a distribution in her Rolls Royce. It was an older Rolls Royce, but it was a Rolls Royce nonetheless, right? And one of our team members was at this distribution, and every time she would go to the older adult, the client would go to the distribution, she would get these looks. Right? She's driving a Rolls Royce. She's coming here, needing food. She doesn't really need it. So our team member approached her and said, "Are you doing okay?" And the lady started crying. And she started crying because she said, "No one's asked me that." And I was already thinking of ending my life. But when you started talking to me, it helped me and it assured me that there is hope in humanity, because her husband died and all she had left was this car. She had no more money. She had nothing. All she had left was this car. And that's where she actually was living, unfortunately, in this Rolls Royce. So we don't understand what is actually happening behind the scenes when it comes to what people are driving or who people are. The majority of people we serve are going to be working families. Not really. It's a very, very small percentage. Less than 1% of the people we serve are homeless. Most of them are working seniors and children. But there are a lot of misconceptions about who we serve, that people are either lazy or people don't want to do anything or people are homeless, and that's not the case.
So is this a short-term solution, do you think, or is it ongoing for some of the folks that you're serving? Have you followed any of these? The lady that you mentioned in her Rolls Royce, have you followed any of that? Have you been able to find out what the results were?
We have, not so much with her, but we do follow our families. And for seniors, unfortunately, this is an ongoing situation. It's something that we have to, when they're on a fixed income, there's nothing that really we can do, especially if they're getting home delivered meals, because they're either disabled or just not very mobile, so they can't go to work. So our drivers go to our seniors' homes, and not only do they deliver the meals, but they talk to them and they try to break up that social isolation that they go through. Sometimes our drivers come back and, they're in mourning because they lose a senior. And it's always a difficult situation for everybody, and our drivers feel it. Try to get them counseling, but they rather talk amongst themselves because they understand what each other's going through. They understand loss, and talking amongst themselves works. When we look at working families, that's absolutely where we're focusing a lot of our energy. Not only do we have food for our families, that's the first entry into a household. Then we start looking at the entire household. We look at a client management system to figure out what's in there. Is there a senior in the household, children in the household, any special needs, veteran status, whatever's going on in there? And then how can we help them? Then we help them with federal benefit application assistance, whether it's SNAP, Medicaid, all these other programs, life skills, financial literacy, computer literacy, interview skills. And then we move them into a workforce training program, whether it's our culinary training program, which is about 12 to 16 weeks, depending on the student and their abilities, or we go into a warehouse training program, which is about 6 to 8 weeks. Same thing, where they learn every aspect of the warehouse, including how to use the machinery in there. And at the end of this calendar year, we're looking at starting our CDL, or commercial driver's license training program, so we can move families to a higher paying job and get them out of the situation that they're in. So yes, for our working adults and for anybody who's wanting to get a higher paying job, this is a very temporary situation.
FeedingSouthFlorida.org or 954-518-1818 if you want more information, to donate, to maybe be a recipient. Getting back, talk about how many volunteers you have, how many staff members, what's your team look like?
So the team is an incredible team. So first and foremost, our team is amazing. I always share about our team. I'll give you an example. when COVID hit back in 2020, it was March, and everything was shutting down. And I was faced with a decision, right? Do I shut down and keep everybody safe? Or do I say, we're going to serve our community because our community needs us right now more than ever? I didn't have to make the decision because the team was like, let's do this, let's go. We're going to do this. And we did. And we had, and a huge acknowledgement to our community, because you talk about volunteers. Volunteers are the lifeblood of the organization. We get over 35 to 40,000 volunteers that come through our doors every single year. COVID was no exception. Thinking back, things were scary. You didn't know what was happening. Everybody was looking for all kind of the PPE, right? And so we had gloves, masks, sanitizer, Clorox wipes, and the volunteers came out, and there was a waiting list for people to come and volunteer because they wanted to help. They wanted to be part of the solution. They wanted to make sure that they were doing something to help others. And that's huge for South Florida. That is a lot of what drives me and motivates me, because people want to be involved. And so the volunteers have always been fantastic, whether they're corporate volunteers. We had a great group yesterday, the Gables group. They came out. They not only donated funds, they had their lunch there, and they volunteered. But we also have a lot of faith-based organizations, individuals, students who come in, family reunions, birthday parties that they want to spend their time there. And for me, that just seeing that family reunions want to come there and birthday parties want to be had there, it's a beautiful thing. And that's who makes up our community here in South Florida, and it's moving and it's inspiring.
Absolutely. I see the community love when, especially during COVID, how we coalesced, and also during Hurricane Andrew, and just you really see people's humanity and moving it forward. You're doing that every single day, making and helping the lives of families and children and elderly. So thank you for that. Let's talk about the community kitchen.
Sure.
Well, let's talk about it. How is it transforming lives?
So the community kitchen is a 5,000 square foot facility up in Boynton Beach, and it does a few different things. It prepares meals for home delivery for our seniors. It prepares meals for after school and summertime lunches and breakfast for the students who are not in class at the time. But it also has a side component to it. It has a catering side to it. The catering side, we have to buy food separately. We can't use donated food. Donated food is earmarked for families, so we have to buy everything separate. But we started this catering company so we can also generate revenue for the organization. And lastly, that kitchen also is used for our training program. We have a culinary training program there, and a lot of students come in, and we're able to place them. We've placed 100% of the students who have graduated from that class, and a lot of them go to the Breakers because the Breakers wants everybody who's graduating, and they're huge supporters of Feeding South Florida.
Shout out to the Breakers.
Shout out to the Breakers, indeed. And then we've also used it as an incubator kitchen. So folks who have wanted to start a business, want to use a kitchen but don't have the capital to buy equipment or to rent a facility for 5 years. So they want to say, let's see how this thing goes. So they come to Feeding South Florida. They start it there, and if they could make it bigger, then they move on. If not, then they say, okay, this isn't working, and no big loss.
And it's a wonderful place. It's 5,000 square feet, state of the art, and you produce 10,000 meals daily.
A day, yes, ma'am.
Do you sleep at night?
Hey, I don't produce those things.
But you lead all of that.
Oh no, we have a great team. I just sit here and talk to cool people.
And this month is Hunger Action Month. What does this initiative mean for Feeding South Florida?
Hunger Action Month, or HAM, is a month. It's a campaign. It's a month-long campaign developed by Feeding America a long time ago. It used to be one day. Now it's a whole month campaign. We tell people 30 ways in 30 days to get involved. What's your way? Pick a way. So Fara, your way is having Feeding South Florida here on your show and highlighting the things that we do and how people can get involved. If people go to our website, feedingsouthflorida.org, they will find a $25,000 match that they donate. their funds will go double as far. We have on online auctions. There's a bunch of cool stuff from hotels to cruises and restaurants. We do actually have restaurants that are also donating, and they have a specific item on their menu that's going to Feeding South Florida. So there's a lot of things that are going on, including 5Ks. There's one in Palm Beach in September. So it's really about getting creative. How can you get involved? Can you do a fun drive? Can you do a food drive? Can you bring people to volunteer? Can you use your voice? Like you just have to say there's a lot. There's a crisis in South Florida and we didn't know. So how do we make sure people know about what's going on? So
and this year's theme is power in every action. What does that mean? Every
action has a power. So it's about whatever you do, I think it could be multiplied. Just like our donation, right? There's a match to that, but people see you doing it, and when people see you doing it, other people want to try it, other people want to do it, and we saw that during COVID. We see that during Irma. We saw that people want to get involved. There's a great movie with Bill Murray. It's that Christmas movie. I forgot what it's called, but it's Scrooged, I think. It's what it's called. He has this great solo or a soliloquy or monologue at the end, and it's similar to that if people have ever seen it. Or maybe I'm just aging myself.
No, you're fine. You're very young. Your birthday's not until October, and you're very, very young. If you're not 60, you're fine, right?
Let's go with that.
Okay. How can people get involved? Let's talk about that because funding was cut. State funding was cut, and there is a gap, and you need some help. How can our audience get involved with exactly what you're doing right now to keep going with the cause and the mission?
So federal funding was cut. State funding, we were okay. Federal funding to the tune of about $14 million was cut. And that's a huge blow to not only the organization, but more importantly, the farmers, the socially disadvantaged farmers we're working with, and the families who are benefiting from the fresh produce that's coming out. And then locally, we're trying to figure that out, but to the tune of $14 to $17 million, including nutrition education, which is hopefully going to be extended for one more year, and then after that.
So we're dancing around it. Our audience can help.
Let's
talk about donations. Let's talk about matching funds. Let's talk about getting involved with your run up and coming. And just maybe even start a fundraiser, fund drive by themselves, food drive in their community. So let's talk about that. Sure.
So we have a run in Palm Beach County. It's our annual 5K up in Okehili Park. It's a beautiful park, and because it's September, it's going to be a nice morning. Every September, it's a beautiful morning up there. We also
you know this in advance. You've already talked to the weather gods. It's all happening.
Well,
Paco says it's going to happen with the higher power, Mother Nature, right?
Well, in Palm Beach, you can put in a request, and usually it's granted.
Miami-Dade, it's a different story.
It's a different story. There's a lot going on in Miami-Dade. So it should be a beautiful morning based on my previous mornings, 5Ks there.
We'll go with it.
And then in February, I think we have our Miami-Dade 5K, and then in April, our Broward 5K. But folks can get involved in many different ways. $1 donated equals 4 meals for our community, which is a pretty great return on an investment. And there is that match, but folks can start their own campaign. People can sign up with us and either do a monthly ongoing gift. They can make a legacy gift. This is a great year, a great month to do a legacy gift. This is part of the action, which is, what do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered for in perpetuity providing children meals, or a truck that has your family name on it or something like that? So there's a lot of different things that folks can do to fund Feeding South Florida and to continue to fund the mission in order to make sure that we're serving our families and the families are thriving in South Florida. One of the things I talked to either the police department or even some of our nonprofit partners is when children are at risk of being taken from their home, the common denominator is that there's no food in the house. When crime is an issue, common denominator is the fact that people are desperate and there's no food in the house. So when there's no food in the house, a lot of bad things happen. And I think with the community's help, which we've had a lot of, and their continued support, we can do a lot to make sure families have that food.
Absolutely. There's been an impressive amount of growth. Talk about some of the growth that's happening now with the organization and what that journey has been like for you. You've been around this in your former life in Texas. What's it like for you? How did you get started in this?
It was interesting how I got started. I was playing semi-pro football and working.
You were famous.
Semi-pro. So
you're famous. Just take it. Yes, I'm giving you the moment. Your moment. This is your 15 minutes of fame. Take it.
No, moments for families. That's what we're getting to. And while I was doing that, I was working through a temp company. I was working at a standardized testing center, and the standardized testing center was scoring tests. Math and science were my thing, so I was doing that. And because I was temp, I wasn't allowed to work year round, but I was really scrappy, so I worked year round. I was the only one really who did. Everybody else was permanent who worked year round. And this person comes up to me and says, "I'm applying for the executive director at San Antonio Food Bank. If I'm getting it, I'm taking you with me." I didn't know this man. I didn't know what the food bank was. All I knew is that he was wasting my time and he needed to hurry up and finish grading his test. True to his word, April 2000, he gets hired. He calls me in May of 2000, invites me to a diner, gets me a job description, says, "Can you do this?" I was like, it's a job with benefits. Of course I can do this. And
take it till you make it, right?
And so I get there and he says, "Come to the office." I get there with my suit and my briefcase and with one resume. And he's like, "Well, you're already hired." And so then I'm like, "Okay, now what do I do?" And then he leaves in less than a year. So then I'm stuck there trying to figure everything out. And fortunately, the organization, the board of directors hired someone that knew what they were doing. And so they mentored me. And the growth of my understanding of what families need, it has been invaluable, not just for me and for my philosophy, but also my perspective. But it also it's helpful in creating programs to ensure families have access to food when they need it.
Absolutely. So how did you get from cowboy boots to bathing suit?
I still have cowboy boots. Can't take the Texas out
I know.
of me.
It's right there. I see them right on your feet right now. But how'd you get down here? Don't say an airplane.
No. I walked over here. It was, I was ready, I think, to become a CEO back in 2009, and my boss at the time was sharing all these CEO positions all over the place, Kansas, Nebraska. I was like, what am I going to do in Nebraska and Kansas? That's not kind of my thing. I was like, if I go anywhere, it's going to be to South Florida. And the reason I wanted to come to South Florida is because I would visit one of my ex-college roommates who was living here at the time. He was a resident at Jackson Hospital, and then he moved. He got married and moved to Springfield.
Everybody leaves you.
And I'm like, what the heck? Selfish of him, right?
How dare he?
And so now I got to get back. And so I got back to South Florida when I found that the position was open and there was a lot of work to be done. And thankfully, with the board of directors, with the team that we have, and with the community support, we've been able to do a lot, but there's still a lot left to be done.
Like what? What really keeps you up at night? What do you think about?
So right now we are in a rented space, a leased space in South Broward, and we are at the mercy of the market. And this last lease agreement that we went into, our lease went up 42%, and so we're paying a lot of money to a landlord, and that money could be going to families. And so we need our own space. And so we've been talking to the Miami-Dade County Commission. We've been talking to the state and legislature and our board to figure out we need a forever home, one that's ours, where we don't have to continue to pay and figure out, okay, are we going to be over a barrel in 2 years and they're going to jack up our price another 42 or 50%. We want to be able to control our destiny, and that means we need our own space. So that's huge for us.
So it's feedingsouthflorida.org to get more information about everything that you do, to donate, to volunteer, to help out, to be part of all these events. It's amazing. One last question.
Yes.
What's your legacy?
I've never thought of it. I've never thought about my legacy, quite honestly.
How do you want to be remembered?
That's a great question. I have never thought about how I want to be remembered. I just enjoy doing what I do. It fulfills the service part of me. That's something that I didn't realize was in me until, even though I was an altar boy with the church and served the church many years, I was in customer service at Walmart. I didn't realize that the smile on people's faces is what really brings me joy until much later. And I realized that, and this is my true calling, is to serve. And this is why I do what I do and why I enjoy it. And so my legacy is just someone who enjoyed serving, I guess.
Any last moment thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience? This is your time.
Last moment thoughts is what I usually try to share with our community is a huge thank you to our community for all the support that they've shown us, regardless of what's going on, whether it's a natural disaster, a global pandemic, a government shutdown, which may be coming up again soon, or just the daily struggle of families not being able to put food on the table. Our community has always trusted us and supported us to do right by our families, and just a huge thank you to them for that.
Thank you so much, Paco. It was really my pleasure to have you today, and continued success. And may you get all the goals met and the mission continues feeding our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Fara.
And I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm Fara Sax. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great day.